Hey YouTube, this is another video on how to build, some tips and tricks, just as promised. If you've been watching my videos, you've probably seen this build already. It did change a little bit since the last one that I posted that was around Christmas time last year. This building over here got a somewhat of a facelift. Looks pretty good now. I was trying to make it fit more, fit in more, I should say, with the whole Rome theme. And then I added this area over here. Um, just give you a quick look inside. This would just be a gathering area where people would come and talk about different issues and so on in Rome or whatnot. Obviously, you can sit on all these chairs, and essentially that's just what this building was made for. And the other one you've seen before, um, it is. I just noticed that my battery, as you probably just saw, is dying on my iPad. So let me plug it in real quick. I didn't realize that. So we're all set now. This is the was the restaurant, and it looked kind of basic and plain, so I wanted to add more to it. We can actually go up there and see. I'm going to explain how to make these pillars and certain other things today on this video. If you can see the fire up there hanging um, from those chains or whatnot. Just show you how to do some of those things. And the last video I made, um, you could kind of get an idea of how to do some of those things as well. So I put this ladder on here just so you can get up here. Essentially what these are, this decoration around the top of the roof, as you can see, they're just chairs that I placed all the way around, made them gold, and from kind of far away, they just add another decorative feature. And that's some of the things that you can do. These are just boxes that I'm on that I've colored to make um, the roof a little higher. Um, Essentially, these, which I call like eagles, as you can see, they're made with all plates, and then in the center, up top where the head is, that's just one of those. I don't really know what you call it. It's kind of like a vase, but it has a cap on it and two handles. And then I put the that's a knife block for the face. Essentially, you have to use. Well, I'll show you down below. Incidentally, if you don't know, if you have fireworks, you see that little cone thing right by my left foot. If you tap on it at the bottom section of it, um, you see where it says light all or light fuse. So I'm not looking at it um, closely. Uh, it's not showing me. Sometimes when you get close to them, it'll just say light fuse. Um, so usually I don't look at it and then I just tap it when it's next to me, and then you can pick light fuse or light all. So again, if you didn't know this already, this is how you set all your fireworks off. So I put that up here just so I could set them off while I was up here, and they're all actually inside the Coliseum, and then they'll all just go off, you know, one after the other, as opposed to trying to set them off individually, which gives you a nice fireworks display. So that's why I had that cone thing down here, and I placed them in different spots along the way. Up here is just some other things, some boxes, as you can see. Made everything gold, used plates, used vases. There's a bush in there. The thing to make it look like the sun is just some building materials, and I'll kind of show you some of that stuff down here. So why don't we go into, well, actually, um, this was just a fire feature, like a large giant pillar. And again, tried to make some different types of statues, and I'll show you how to do those also. Uh, and I don't remember if the last video I had this in here or not. You see the fire feature up there. It's not too difficult to do that. But in here I have a statue, and that took quite a while, but it came out pretty well. I didn't put a head, um, and there's a hand missing, and the only reason for that is a lot of times, as things get older, You've seen broken statues and stuff like that, so I was just going for that look in here. Um, these pillars again here, they're all custom, and the top areas, those are all custom. So we're going to get into that, and we'll make a pillar. That'll be the first thing that we do. So there's other ways to make pillars now as well. Let's actually get out of build mode, and I just want to make sure again the sounds are off, so it doesn't screw anything up. And we're just going to shut local volume off, and now we'll go into build mode just in case. Looking at these are again all plates, and I just placed them on little tables, and then you can copy and paste and just place them here. I don't remember if I had to use, I'll try and remove one right now so you can see. So you can see that only grabbed one section of plates. I'm going to tap on a different spot. You can see how that grabbed a large section of plates. And I built them all in the ground, and then I placed them up here. So now you can see how I can't place it on this section. So in order to do that, and here's what I'll do. I'm just going to copy that section. I'm going to copy this section, and I'm going to tap on the small squares so I can bring it close together. And then I'm going to tap on copy the last section so you can see what it looks like down here. And we're having an issue just because the tile on the ground is not cooperating. See how it won't let me sit it down? So let's go over to that grassy area. We'll build it over here so you can see. Sorry about that. Let's get all three pieces over here, and we'll just go work over here. So now that we're over here and everything is on the ground, I'm just going to show you how we did that again, or how I did it. So you can see that these are all just plates stacked up, and these are just small tables that you can find in the table area, and that's how those look, all stacked together. And we'll go back over and we'll look what it looks like. So that's this stack right here, and I just did it because the building was crumbling, and that's the best way that I could make it look like, get a different angle, like the building was crumbling. And again, it's just by using the plates, you color them the same color as the bricks and so on. And yeah, so how you stack plates, I mean, it's pretty simple. You just go into decorations, just look for plates. There they are. Get the stacked plates right here. And it's just as simple as that. And then you would just tap on one. Once you have the color, you just copy it, and so on. And essentially that's how I did the plates. Now how I would get it up on top of there is, I'm positive that now that I just tried to rest them on there, is using the roof trick. So we're going to go back into roof, and that's about the right height where we want to start. So I'm going to go into manual, and I'm going to come towards us, go over a little bit, go past that section, and then go over there. Got to move the orientation of our view. Hit the plus. Now you see that little triangle in the middle. Make sure on the top right you're on the many squares, so you can just grab that and bring it up as high as you want. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Then just hit save, which is the check mark. Go grab your carpet, stick that here, and essentially I'm just going to go grab one piece, not the whole thing. And again, I'm on an iPad, so it's a little different than the PC, because you have to use your thumbs and separate to change angles and stuff. So you can see how that's sitting on here. It's not quite the same height just because I made the roof a little higher. If I tap the roof And now you can see, so it looks a little higher. I also see something underneath, so that's also what I did. So I'm going to copy that. Oh, maybe it's just a brick, but it looks like there's something under there. Give me a second. I'm tapping on the bottom here, and I'm going to try and get the whole thing, which I did. Essentially, it's sitting, that table was sitting on something. But you see how we have this gap right here? So it looks like it's floating. We wouldn't want that. So we're going to go back, 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 back. And we're going to try and make that, the roof, only go up as high as we need it to. So let's try this again. Come out, over, past it, change our view right here. And we're going to try and go as close as we can. That's probably it right there. You can still see that there's a little there, but it should be, the carpet should still sit on there a little bit better. That looks like the right spot. Go grab a piece. I'm holding it and using my thumb at the same time. And now let's delete the roof. And you can see it's basically right, same height as the other one. It's exactly the same height. So that's how I put them up there. Was with the roof and carpet trick. And then I just, I slid them forward before I removed the roof and the carpet. So that way, when I was done, they stay. And I did that for all of those sections there. They are all a little different. So I didn't just copy and paste every single time. I kind of made them fit the piece that I wanted it to actually fit. But to do it, going back, if you go to decorate, I'll show you the table that I used. You can use other things now. This was the table right here. It's got that little hole in it, but it's just a small little table. And if you look, I'll get my pointer here again. Oops. That I used the other day. Go to build, structural. I just use anything for a pointer so you guys can see. So if you look down, let me switch it. Down here, this thing that I'm highlighting with the little dot, little circle, that was added on after to fill in this space here, because it didn't have the new tools that you could just make a little block or something. So I wanted to use this, because you can rest plates on it because it's a little table. Certain things you can't rest on other things, but they made these new blocks in the building materials. I'll get rid of that. And as you see in this new section, like now you can use something like this little square, and you can resize that however you want. And if you watch, I can just copy some of these and they'll sit right on top. Before, it had to be on a table. You couldn't just put plates on anything. So now you can use something like that as well, to do that. And you just shape that however you would want to shape it. So I'm going to undo all this stuff. Remove all those plates that we don't need anymore. So you get the idea of that. Now coming back here to some of these pillars, a little bit hard to do, but if you look, that one has a camera on it. But most of the pillars in like Rome or Greek type structures, they had decorative areas on the top of the pillar and the bottom. So essentially, all I went into decorations again. That was before new tools, and I didn't want to use just regular pillars. So I grabbed these barrels, and that's what they're actually made out of. So I'm just going to copy and paste the color. I'm tapping on one of the barrels over there, and you can see how it looks. I also used those tables, if you see at the very bottom there, and I'll get my little highlighter out again so you can, oops, keep going into this section. Build, structural, I'm just grabbing anything so I can show you what I'm talking about. So down here where this little ball is, those are the same tables I used for the plates. Again, you don't have to do that, and you can also see how I filled in the hole, that area there, because I wanted it to look like a solid base of a pillar. So I did set it on tables. Um, so now we don't have to do that anymore, and we can make one look a little different, and we'll do that together. So I'll just take a square on the right side. Now you're going to see it's blue on the screen. That's the resize, and I like using all the squares when I resize, just so I have more control over it. And then you just have to decide how big you want the base of the um, thing for the pillars to be. So I'm just going to pick that. Again, I can tap on, tap on it, copy the barrel that I already did. Now I'm going to go to the four squares on the right, because when I put this barrel on here, it'll go exactly in the center. I don't have to mess around. If I tried to put it on here with the many squares, I could offset it. And then, like, let's say I thought this was it, I'd have to look around and make sure that it's actually centered. So when you're trying to center something, I just use the squares, the four squares, and that puts it exactly right in the center of whatever piece. So then all I have to do is copy that barrel, staying on the four squares, and just keep pasting. Another quick way is, once I have three, copy the bottom one, and then automatically I have three. So that's about the height. We can move this closer and see if it is. So there is probably one more barrel in there, so we'll just copy. Let's just make sure there is one more barrel. Um, it's hard to tell. I know that there's some stuff up there. Yep, so there is one more barrel, and then that would slide right in nicely with, I'm going to go with the many squares, so you can slide it right in wherever you want. And you can see that that's how it looks. The only difference is the base is different now, and it is a solid piece, so it's actually less hard to deal with. And as far as at the bottom, so pulling this out, I'll just copy some of these. Basically, I just took the little uh, dude there, I don't know what you call him, and used him, and you can rotate it. Now, if you hit the four squares and you turn, it will do, then I go back to the many squares so I can place it. It'll just do like angles, it's just faster to rotate things. And then you got to make sure that it sits on there just right. There you go. So that's kind of how these guys were. Oops. I just like to make sure everything's kind of the same. And in the front, I'm just copying it was just a frog. You can try and put them up here as well. Of course, that didn't center. And I like things to be in the middle. And if you wanted to put another one at the bottom, now these can get expensive. You can see how I have, so I did the little dude in the middle and I did the frog at the bottom. But you can do them any way that you want to make it look as dramatic as you want. I'm going to tap on the bottom one, go to the four squares, just tap, rotate once, go back to the many squares, and you can see how, it's turned. So depending how much money you want to spend and how you want it to look, that's how you do that whole scenario. Going up to the top, if you're trying to do that, I think you might be able to guess already. So at the very top, those are towels. So I'll just tap on one so you can see. And it's just towels. And we could put two up there. And that kind of made the top of the pillar. You can move it however you want. And those look like, Greek or Roman pillars with the towels up there, and the bottoms being all cool like that. Now, how did we do the top? Again, I think you could probably guess now. So we're going to go to the roof trick and go to manual, and you can see that that little circle is higher than where we're trying to work. So that means we got to go down a floor or a level and start here. So we're just going to make a square around this pillar. And now that we have that, and we have it on the many circles, we're just going to start raising it up until we think that it's about, so you can see how it's just below the feet here of these guys. And you always have to remember that you're going to use a carpet. So let's just save it there for now. Go to decorations, go to carpet, slide that in there. As long as it stays yellow, you're good. And I'm just going to copy one of these guys and, oops, and just place it wherever you want. You can grab this guy, put it on the 4 squares, tap on it again, tap on the rotate once, tap on the many squares, and just kind of slide it in, and so on, and go around like that. And if you're happy with it when you're done, just hit the roof, delete, and you see how they stay up there. Just like that. Now these guys are their heads are just a little lower than these. Their heads are almost where the towel is, and that just means that if you don't like where it is, you'd have to undo this and raise the roof a little higher than you just did, and then they'll sit higher. So it's just personal preference where you want them to be, how you want it to look, and so on. And that's how you make one of these pillars. Let me get we'll undo all this. Just so we're not spending all that money for nothing. I'm going to go get my pointer again, and it's on the other one, structural. Let's tap on anything. And looking up here, trying to get the view for you again. Up inside here where you see the ball moving around, those are just those little gnomes or whatever you want to call them again, the little Roblox guy. And again, I did the same thing, the roof trick. I'm trying to remember what this is back here. I think those are just boxes. And then I did something in front of the boxes to just make it look like stone. And again, that's just playing around. These are those new, when they came out with the structural, that's just like the bar. Let's get out of here and go look. So this one's a plank. The one that I wrote the letters on, the Roman numerals, that's a plank, like I'm in right now, horizontal plank. And then the bars up above, or just wooden plank, are called standard round rod. And I don't remember off the top of my head which one I picked. Let's try this. And I'm going to go with the many squares. And you see the little circle. So you can see that's the same thing. And that's what I used for that. And then you just paint it whatever, or texture it whatever color, and so on that you want. Same thing I did for the Roman numerals. And that's pretty much how I did that. And that's pretty much, these are lights right here, just those regular wall lights. And they're very useful to look like lots of things. You can make them look like windows, you can put many together, and so on. Up above those are also their lamps, and they can be textured or colored to look like anything, as you can see. So just copying and pasting one of these smaller lamps, you can put them together and make a larger window if you want, whatever you want to do. And you can see how, from further away, it looks possibly like a window, or, just something unique. Could be the structure of a castle or anything like that. Like if you used them, let's see if we can stick them up here. Sure. So, how castles have those little notches in the top. You can do something like that going around, all the way around, whatever. And essentially how you do that is you take one of these lights, and I'll show you. It's just in lighting. So this is what the light looks like. And what you have to do first before you actually start using it, because watch, if I try and copy this color here, well, it did this time, but that's because it's already done. But if I tried to, oops, I gotta tap on the light, unless they changed something. It looks like they changed it. So used to be you had to turn the light off first, is what I was trying to get at. So let's do this and this. You can see, all right, let me do it one more time. Color, dark, and just save it. You can see that it does look a little different, and that's because the light is on still. So if we tap on it, and it's hard to really tell if the light's on or off, but I mean, it looks kind of fine, but you can tell that it's different color. It's close, but it's not quite the same. And that's because the light is still on. So you used to have to shut them off to get it to look like anything like this. And so you would just set the regular light, like this, set it on something, get out of build mode, walk up to it, turn it off, and then when you change the look of it, it looks better, plus the light is off. So like if I tried to do, let's try and do like just gold and see what it would look like. Gold and gold. We'll go with brick and brick. There, that's a better example. It's because we're using black, that's why it worked. But do you see how gold still looks like a light with just this little middle bar in it? Not that amazing. So if you turned the light off, it would look like the one on the right, but even better. It would totally look like just gold brick. Both parts of it would look like brick. So that's just a little tip that you can use. There's lights like this also, and I've made them black like that, and then you can go into like on the Titanic, this is what I did. Let me get out of here, go back into build structural, and then I just used this thin bar um, to make, let's see what the four circles do. Okay. To make it look like a window from far away. And then I just made these white. And sometimes if you see how that doesn't really look white, it looks kind of like an off-white. There's a reason why. So if I tap on it, and when I tap white up there and you see how it looks gray, it's because of whatever material is being used. So yeah, you can see that it's using metal, and that's why. So I always go down under the puzzle pieces. You see the elephant on the right, right below that one, and to the left, that one is smooth plastic. I always use the smooth plastic, and you can see how that makes it look really white. So I can just copy it, and that's it. So now from far away, that totally looks like a small little window. And again, if you shut the light off, it'll look even better. You can see how there's like, reflection of light down here. So you might not want that or whatever. But you can see how you can take a single light and you can make it look like all kinds of things. So that's just another tip and trick. So we're gonna back out of these. I got another one. I don't know if I told you or not on the last video. I think I did. For example, these hanging plants, and I just used that structural wood plank inside there, and then I set those, whatever these lights are called. I can't, light box, that's what that is, in there, and it looks kind of nice. And a lot of those buildings had things like that back then. I did show you lighting before as well. How I put light here and there and everywhere. Sometimes if you get close and you like zoom into an area, see how we can see inside this roof area. So even though it's a roof that typically we can't do anything in, you actually can. So sometimes, like once you zoom into a roof like this, let's say you wanted to hide some light and just make the roof light up. So we can try and do these wall ones, and you can see I can't make it stick on this wall. I can that wall, but I can't on this side wall over here, and I can't on the floor or whatever. So what you can do, if you want to light up this area, go back into build, go to structural, go to the wooden plank, do the ones that would go on the side of something, and try and put some plank. And then there we go. So now that we have wooden plank, you can put anything that would stick on a wall on wooden plank, which is great. And now we just added that spot there. So now we're going to go back into decor, go into lighting. We'll go grab that same light, and voila. And you can see if you do the many squares, you can put it exactly wherever you want. And now you've just lit up that whole area and you can't see it. So I like to do that a lot to hide lights. And we'll go into night mode and we'll see how that looks. So you can see how that really stands out now just from that one light. And maybe that's too much. Maybe you would want the color to be different, which that's no problem at all. Oops, I still had, it was two lights. So it actually looks better. I hit cancel. The light is still in there and we can go see. Should be, see, it's still in there. Now we could change it. The color, I like to go with this linen color because it's kind of warm. So when we back out of here, we'll see what it looks like. And that's it. You know, now that whole area is lit up and you don't see all these little lights sticking around. Plus, some lights won't go in some places. But it's just one way to add lighting effects to different things. And you can kind of play with stuff like that. You can even, like, for example, these down here. I don't particularly, that used to be how I would do things and hide them, but I found a better way now, and I can show you. I don't know why I can't go down right now. Oh, because I'm already in the basement, that's why, and that's probably why I had to go with this. So we're actually in basement level. That's how I built this whole structure. Um, But a lot of times what I do is, you know, I'll go inside and then I can hide it inside. But when you're in the basement, you can't get any lower camera view wise. I can't zoom in on this anymore. So we can't do what I was going to try to do that I could show you if we were up here. So like I would like, for example, this pillar here, and I might have done it in these. I don't know. There might not be anything. But see how I can zoom way in? And then I can like go right inside here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of these and I'm just going to zoom in and see how I was able to put it right inside here. I'm going to let it go and now you can't see that at all. And it's just illuminating from inside the pillar. I would have done that below. Again, I built this in the basement so you can't get any closer like this to be able to do that. So let's just undo that. And we'll go back and undo whatever we did over here that I can't remember. Oh yeah, this this one light in here. And again, so if you wanted to, anything that can go on a wall now can go on that. So sometimes you might want, just looking through here, maybe you want to put a picture somewhere that you can't. If you put some of that on the wall, it doesn't have to be that long of a piece. I just put that just so that you could see. Again, you can add these type of lights. You can pretty much do anything that would hang on a wall. You know, I could hide the power box in here. It's just funny, and it's again, it's a great trick to know. And you can, you know, color that plank any color that you want, you know, to match the background, and people wouldn't even know what it is if it's blending in with a wall. All they would see is the light or whatever you got hanging up there, and it's just a really good, it's a really good hack or trick to know. Um, Looking around this build, trying to see again. So like this light up here, how it kind of stands out. So I could tap on it and kind of try and zoom into this thing here. I need to be a little bit lower. And you can see how it's on one of those tables with the center there. So let's see what we can do. It's a little trickier to do with the iPad because you have to use your fingers in a different way. So now we're kind of inside that building, and sometimes it kicks you way out. Hold on. Yeah, it's being a little difficult. So yeah, you can see right in here, that's actually inside the thought it was going inside the vase almost. That's actually a worse spot because now you can see it from the front. But if I had a different type of block under there, not the table, it would totally be hidden. This is another, the thing on top of that, that everything is on, that's another roof right here. So if I wanted to, I could just put some of that, undo. I could put a plank, if I can get down in here. It's kind of hard to see because it's a very short roof. Trying to get an angle so you guys can see it's really hard. Essentially, the only area I have is right here. I could do it if I wanted to. So again, just going into build, structural, do this. Just put a little bit on the wall here. I'm trying to see the dot. I can't even see the dot. Oh, custom, that would help. Having a hard time still seeing the dot. Okay, so we're trying to change the angle a little. It's right above me. I see it now. So I'm just going to try here and see where it is. Like I said, it's such a small area. It's really hard. But anyway, you see that I was able to get a little piece in there. I don't know if it's sticking out the top. Yeah, you can see that it almost is because that's how small of a section of roof this is. And that was a piece of roof that was a total accident. Um, anyway, undo all that. And let's go all the way on done. I don't know what we're undoing still. Okay, I see. Just making sure that everything's all good. Okay. There are ways. If I really wanted to hide that thing, that light, I could. Um, and it just depends. We can go on this bigger roof here, and you can see that there's wall there that we could use. I don't know how. Um, go back into build, structural. I don't know how close it is to that eagle up top, but let's just put a little section here. And we'll just add a light. And back, hit cancel, and back out and see. So if we delete this, we'll see what the eagle looks like without it, and going back, see how the eagle's more lit up. So it is better using this light than the one that I just put under there. And get rid of the wood. It just depends what you're trying to do, literally. Um, but we probably could hide that maybe in here somewhere. If that was a block and not the table, it would be ideal because you definitely could hide that in a block. It would just totally be inside. And all I'd have to do is just essentially take this whole thing, move it out of the way, put a block there, and then transform all that. I would do it on the ground because it's just easier. And then change all that onto the block, and then I could slide that in there. It's not really worth my time and effort right now, but I could definitely do it. And that's just it with this game. It's just figuring out um, how to do things and what you're trying to do. Again, we have all these lights up here, and I didn't really know like the tricks that I'm teaching you guys. I'm just trying to get the right angle. The tricks I'm teaching you guys. So like, I didn't realize that I could go in here and I could just, so I can't put anything on that wall. Let's see if I can do it on, and you see how that looks like there's nothing there, even though there is something there. But what I would do here is just go to structural, hit that, and put some plank, custom, and put some plank in here. And then go to lighting and grab a light, put it here, and you'll see how much brighter that area is when we turn it around. So you can see how bright it is, and I'm going to hit undo and you'll see it darken. See, and it changes to light. Now I'm going to put it back as if I just put it there, but you can see that I could have used one light probably, and not all those little lights that are supposed to go on the ground, and even those look like they're floating because I used the roof trick to do it. I tried to hide them. And when you're down below, you really can't, like all the way down, you really can't see those, I don't think, anyway, for the most part, those little lights. So it didn't really matter too much. And now I just removed the one that I put inside, and I just removed the piece of wood. And I liked this look better, but I could have gotten that look with the piece of wood on the wall and one light using the linen color. And then I could have not used all three of those. Again, I just didn't know that. Nobody taught me how to build or anything. The only person I ever watched was David. I can't remember his last name. And he built some amazing things, and that's how I started learning how to build in the first place. He used a lot of these. These are supposed to be just, kind of like statues in the windows. You can see how I lit up each and every one so they would light up. And I would probably have continued to use these for that as well. And you see the lights above those. I think those are with the linen color. Let's see. Yep, that's what I used because I was trying to make it look a certain way at night. But all this is, let's just copy this. Oops, couldn't copy that. These are just like cake trays, and you can stack them on top of each other. It's stacked on a table, and also there's some towels there. And then once you use those cake things, I'm just going to copy one of these guys. You can see how you can actually set things on different areas of the cake trays. So the cake trays are really beneficial if you're trying to make some sort of statue. So I use those quite often for doing those, or I've used them for a lot of different things. So that's what these are. And from far away, what I was trying to make these windows look like were that there were statues in all of them. And up above on the top of the roof, it's supposed to be, decorative, ornamental statues or whatnot. And so, like I said, from far away, it looks like that. And that's how you do a lot of these things. These pillars are just done the same way I showed you on the other ones. You can see how these aren't up as high as the other ones were on the other building. Looking in here, I did the same type of thing, just used those are basically those planters. I just made them look like brick. Used another table. You can see that inside here I used the cake stands, and all this was done while there was a roof here. So I just started placing things until I liked what was happening and was liking how it looked. Then I removed the roof, and everything disappears, and then you're left with that. It's just, again, it's all about details to me, and that's pretty much how you do it. You get a bunch of pillars in here stacked on top of each other. Everybody knows how to do that. At the top of this roof, I was trying to get this extra look. I wanted it to stick out a little bit more. So what those are planters, and I used those and just put them all together. We'll move one. But yeah, it's just a planter but it has to sit on something. So I was able to make them sit up here. Can't remember how, again, right this second. I don't think I used, maybe that's how, because it was sticking out further. I might have used roof. You can see how if I let go, it will stay here. But obviously that's not good enough for where I'm trying to get it to go. Sometimes when you push those squares, sometimes that helps also. So if something won't fit in right, so you can see how it just got a little closer. So let's go to a little bit more squares. And that was even closer. It's not exactly where I had it, but you can see that it is somewhat closer. If I go to the many squares again, kind of is popping it out. So this is just one of those things you have to play with. And I don't remember exactly how I did it. Again, it could have been using the roof trick. I'm not 100% sure. But that's what I used to make this look like that. I wanted a different type of edge. Now, they've created a lot of things to help make things look really cool. So you can go into this. It's called traditional molding, which they didn't really have. Well, they didn't have when I first built this building. And I could give myself some sort of effect with this stuff now. So you can see how that looks, sticks out. Not quite as far, but even if because you can always go over it again and make it stick out even further. Obviously, it'll cost you more, but it's infinite what you can actually accomplish. So you can see that sticks out further than the other one did, and it's actually more decorative and was a lot easier to stick up there. I could put it anywhere that I wanted. So those tools are great that they came out with. They just didn't exist when I was first starting to build, so you had to kind of pick and choose what you wanted to do. And I just decided to use those planters. All these up here are I'm trying to think of the name of it, but just counters. That's all this is. I used, let's see if we can rotate this and see that it's a counter. Guess we can't. Kind of weird. Basic counter, you see where it says right there. And that's it. And I just wanted to make it a little bit bigger. I wanted the roof line a little bit higher. And so that's how I did. I just used basic counter. So as you see from back here, it just made the roof just a little bit higher, gave it a little bit more decoration so it wasn't just flat. And, some people might not care as much, but it did make a difference to me when I was doing it. Moving into these are those outside long fireplaces. And so if we dissect this, I'll just pull this away from the wall. On top is wooden plank, horizontal plank. You can see that. There's many of them. So I did as many as it would take. These were also square beams. So I was trying to hide all of the logs so it just wouldn't look like that. I just wanted to see the fire. So if we go back, I wish they gave us more option to do that. And you can still see one little log because it sticks up pretty high. But I just dealt with it because from the front, you can't see it too much. So I literally just wanted to be able to see fire. And that's the best that I could do with that. And again, up above that, it's just probably some more cake stands and placed things all around with the moai head on top. Dissecting this fountain over here. I do love making fountains. I've made many different kinds, and essentially it's just a bunch of fountains on top. You can see how this light is floating, and you can see these other, let me get out of here. Maybe I can. So I'm using my pointer. You see this little thing? So that's a different type of sprinkler, and then I just turned it Same with this one over here, the sprinkler here, and then there's a sprinkler here. So there's one shoot straight up in the middle and the other two shoot at an angle. Um, I used the roof trick to get them to stay up there. From down below, you can't really see that they're floating. And then I just made some shorter custom pillars below. Was able to have, there's another fountain in the middle here. And I was able to put this fire, because fire and water is kind of cool together. These are just blocks. Uh, they might be pillars. I can't remember. Let's tap on one. Yeah, so they're just plain wide pillars. And I put them close together. And essentially, you can keep moving this uh, and place it right back in there. So what I like to do is, you see I have some lights in there and so on because I wanted to light it up. You see how dark that is without light? And I'm talking about the fountain. So I put lights on the floor so that you can see how much brighter it is and it just looks nicer. And the waterfall uh, sections, when I put uh, the pillars there, waterfall would go and stick on a pillar, which was good. I'm trying to remember what this piece is because we didn't have the new building tools, so it's just floor. Okay, so I built a floor there to put it at that height. Makes sense because the pillars go a specific height up to each floor. And then I placed all those things on top of that, all the fountains I'm talking about. And then I used the roof trick for the extra fountains that make it go up higher because the regular fountains aren't really that high. But you can see how that looks a lot cooler, just being shooting up higher. And so that's basically this. I mean, you guys can totally dissect this and figure out how to do it. When it comes to moving the fountain, I have it on the 4 squares, not the many squares. And so when you're trying to put something back or in something, a lot of times the 4 squares is the way to go, and it will definitely center it right back where it was. Sometimes you will have to use other ones, but I always resort to the 4 squares first and see if it will go in there perfectly. Um, so that's essentially how I did that. Um, that's pretty much it for this build. We just walked through all this. I mean, the Coliseum, it was really hard to do the stair area, and essentially all it is just stairs, and you have to keep twisting a little bit and twisting a little bit. Actually, let's go to day. I forgot we're in night mode here. So you just take a set of stairs and you just keep twisting and twisting and twisting, and I tried to twist it as best I could to make, a circular um, area like they would have, and essentially they would watch, fights in the middle here, and they would sit on all those stairs and watch them. And so I put, a bunch of plates and different things and towels to make it look like broken steps or whatnot. Um, and some of the stairs are still here because the Coliseum was really big. Um, and I just kind of made it, you know, uh, look like it's falling apart, but some of it's still together. And yeah, that's how I did that. Um, it was a lot of fun. This build was great, and it's one of my um, favorite builds. Uh, and that's pretty much it for this one. So what I'm going to do in the next video is dissect some more um, of the whatever build that I'm on, and you can see through here, and that looks like it's kind of floating. Again, that was the floor trick. Sorry, the roof trick. I'm wondering, and since we're doing it together, I'm going to tap on the bonfire, and let's just move it for a second to the floor. And I didn't know about this trick that I learned by myself. So let's go back into build, structural, and we're going to learn this together right now. And since I use it for other things, let's just see if it'll work for this. Because I can tell that I used the roof trick the first time. So just go across like that. Um, and let's color that the same color as the whole thing. And what I'm trying to do is just see if I can place the fire pit or the bonfire, whatever you want to call it, on top of that. Voila. And that's much closer. You could have put 2 planks if you wanted, but you can see that's much closer, way less gap. Um, so even from this angle, which is pretty much just below it, you can't see the gap. So that means if you're down here at ground level, you're not seeing it floating at all. So we just learned that we can totally place the bonfire in one of these types of buckets as well. And how I did this is just it wasn't actually a hanging plant. If we go into garden, well, we can tap on it. So it's a large barrel planter. Wasn't that one? I was looking for the largest one that would fit this thing. Maybe it's this uh, barrel planter. So maybe there's a bigger one, I'm guessing, because it said large barrel planter. Maybe it's this. Yeah, large barrel planter. So this is what I used. And I had to use the roof trick to get it to stay up here. And then I just took the chains. So I went into build and then structural, and you can see these different chains. And then I just tapped it onto that and then up to the ceiling, and to make it look like it was hanging from chains. And now you see how I made the bonfire stay in there. So I'm not going to undo this. Actually, let's undo it, and then we can see the difference, how that looks compared to, but even still below, not that below. Um, you can't really tell, but you definitely can see more of what the logs and stuff, which I don't want to see. So I'm going to go forward. Actually, wait, is that right? Yeah. So looking at that, you can, I think it looks better. And I'm sure that you agree. It's less floating. So but that's how I did that. And these up top, these are just bushes. Um, Again, there's the lights on the side, and you can see how they look gold. Again, you want to shut them off first. So what I'll always do is I'll just take one and put it low somewhere and then turn it off. And once it's off, I can copy and paste however many I want and put them wherever I want for decorative type things. You can see this was the roof trick done in here for all that stuff, and you can use whatever you want. So that's about it, guys. I hope that you got something out of this. Hope it wasn't too boring. I find this stuff very interesting myself. Just these little tricks can help you on your builds for sure. And I'm constantly learning still myself. Whatever I see or structure or want to make, I always find out a way to do it. And it's just playing around and trying to figure out. And once you learn a few simple tricks, like I've already shown you, then it opens your mind to all the different things that you can do and create. And you got to keep a box of tools with you, meaning remember some of these tricks so that way when you're trying to do something on your build, gee, how do I do that? There's certain ones that you really need to remember, like the roof and carpet trick. That's huge. Like the plank one. That's huge. A friend of mine today, I'll just show you one more thing. So a friend of mine today was telling me he couldn't put any plants in specific type pots because it kept saying that it was too big or it wouldn't fit or something like that. So for example, here we have this pot right here. That's kind of a small one to use. We still can, but let's try something else also. So we have 2 things to go with. So use your head for a second and think. okay, what will we do? So if we wanted to put, just looking for some sort of plant. Let's say we wanted to put this on here. Well, I guess we can. Can we put it on this one? No, not enough space. So is that true? Is that does that mean we just can't do it? Do we give up? Well, I don't know. What did we learn today? So let's go into structural. Let's go to get that plank. But this is kind of small, so it might not work, and also it might not look great. So there we go. It's sitting there, and let's see what happens. Still doesn't like us. I'm going to go to many squares. It likes this a little bit better. So how does it look? I mean, it's on there. We can also make the bush bigger if we wanted to. Give it a bigger hairdo, and it hides the the plank. I'm just trying to get a better view, guys. Sorry. Hides the plank a little better. We forgot to color the plank, but we still can take it off and do that. So you can see just that plank does help. Another trick, as I'm thinking, as this video is getting even longer, that I recently thought of myself and found out is if you take these also, things will sit on top of them as well. So I'm just going to copy one of these. You can see how that'll sit on top of there. So let's say I couldn't make the plank work for some reason. Well, another thing that you can do is you can resize this. Let's just make it big enough so something could be on top of it, and we'll have to test it after. Let's go with that size. And let's see if this will sit on top of it. I know that it will. See? And so what you could do, move this, get rid of the little plank. And I'm going to go with the 4 squares because, like I said, it usually, so you want to use the 4 squares and put this in the center of something, and then you see how that goes right where it is. So now we already tested it. Will it work? And it does. But you can see a little bit more of it. So we can try and resize this so that we'll go to the many squares so we have more control. See if we can sit it on there at that height. Now I'll go to the 4 squares and see if it goes on top. Bingo. Look at that. Got a big bush and a small thing. 2 different ways. So that's what I wanted to show you. The last thing I'm going to show you, and then I'm definitely going to let you guys go. Take one of these, and this is for making taller trees. I know we can resize trees now, but this is something that I just discovered and learned for myself. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to copy that, and I'm just going to resize them just a little bit shorter. Stay there, and that one even shorter. Stay there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to garden, and a build that I was just working on, the types of trees that they had were like this. So I'm going to do something. I'll have 2 styles here. So theirs were tall and skinny. So if I resize this, the whole tree gets bigger. So you see how it gets wider and then starts to look like a Christmas tree, right? So let's save that. I don't want that look, but I want this style tree. So I was like, how do I do that? So I made these, and I wanted it tall. So now I'm just going to put this on top. Here's the bonus part. Look at that, just stays right where it is. Copy that tree. Always twist it before you set it up there so that it looks, so that the branches are going different. So you're not just copying the same exact thing over and over again. Place that there, hit cancel. Oh, move that out of the way. Grab your shorter one. Try and make sure you find the right spot. I'm going to tap on the top one because that one's twisted different than the one I just put there. And put this guy in here. Hit cancel, remove that, and copy the middle one. I'll twist it anyway a few times. Just make sure it's kind of different. And voila. So now I have that tall, skinny tree I was going for. And yeah, it cost me more money in trees or whatever, but to me, it's the look that I was looking for. I wasn't looking for this gigantic Christmas tree looking thing. So the resize is nice, but if you want to get it really tall or whatever you're trying to do, and again, I could have got this even taller. I just needed to make that first block taller and start from there. So yes, it costs more money, but it gives you a much different look that I know that you guys can agree. And that's the look that I was going for. So that's how I was able to do it. So that's just one more thing for you guys. And I'm just going to delete all this stuff as quick as I can. And so that way we can end the video. And yeah, that's it. So again, I hope you guys got something out of this, some of these tricks. I do have more up my sleeve. Try and remember those. If you can't, just watch the video again and again until you get it, and practice. Practice on your own plots before you try and put it into practice on your favorite build that you're about to build, or just do it on that build. But play around, have fun. If you have any questions or comments, please hit me up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button because then you won't miss any of the future videos. And have a great day. Thanks, YouTube.